it's not anxiety or nerves. It's your nervous system and your actual body, like your whole being is clapping for you and cheering you on that
Oh,
you
I
can do it. And
love
I was
that.
like, that is so amazing.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
I
call
love
them
it.
butterflies.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
Welcome back, leaders, to the LeadHer Lounge. Today, we have in the chair the executive director of Velocity, the Smart Zone in Sterling Heights, Michigan, and a driving force behind one of the Southeast Michigan most dynamic entrepreneurial ecosystem. With over 20 years of experience as an entrepreneur, advisor, and leader, she's deeply committed to helping startups and scaling companies grow. We're a testament to that. While shaping the future of Macomb County's business community, let's welcome to the lounge Paula Macpherson. Yay! We're so happy to have you here,
Thank
Paula.
you for having me. I'm so excited.
Thank you
It's
for accepting
yeah,
the invitation.
yeah, absolutely. And it's been thrilling to watch you and Taylor grow your business and see Lead Her Lounge take off. So I am thrilled to get to be a guest on your show.
And for sure, you are guilty of that, of all our success and all the things that we have accomplished. Obviously, you are a big part of it. So thank you so much. That's why we are honored to have you. And we can talk about so many different topics with you in leadership because you have so much experience. And we both, Taylor and myself, we admired the approach that you have, how you lead your team. Like we have seen it and we can talk about so many things, but today we want to dive into one that we kind of cover in different episodes, but it deserves a full episode, and that's work-life balance. And work-life balance is something that a lot of leaders think that young generations are bringing to the workplace to maybe avoid working hard or grinding or all of those things. And it's something that we actually embodying in the last few decades, like the last 2 decades mostly. And we want to make sure that we as leaders understand, we as leaders understand that is important and there is a way to do it that convey a lot of results and also it helps you to have that human-centered approach. So I would like to hear from you, what was the thing that clicked and you realize, okay, this is the approach I want to have in my leadership, and because I experienced this thing or because I learned this, what was that thing that make you have that approach?
Well, it's kind of a variety of things. It's more of a culmination of
Yes.
things, I will say. So I grew up with a dad who was an entrepreneur. Surprise, I know, but I do come by it honestly. And my dad always worked. He was in construction, commercial industrial construction. So from sun up to sundown, if the sun was out, he was working, right? And he didn't get to spend a lot of time with her family. And so a couple of years ago, he had a stroke. And then about a month later, he had a cardiac arrest in the driveway and died in front of my mom. And he was without oxygen, they think about 8 to 10 minutes. Luckily, my son and my cousin happened to be there. They also work for him. And he had done a CPR class for everybody on staff. And they remembered it and they acted and they did all the right things. And he's still here to talk about it.
Wow.
But the crazy thing is, I realized like, wow, my dad worked all the time and all the different, things that he didn't do or moments that he missed out on because he was working and building. And, he'll even tell you now, like, oh, I should have taken the vacation. I should have taken the day off. I should have taken the nap. And then also in my own experience, just, working in environments that were quasi corporate or corporate. And, it's always like, you've got to be here from this time to this time. And, I missed a lot of things. I was late to every single one of my son's high school soccer games because of work. And so when I came to Velocity, I thought, I don't ever want to be that way. Work doesn't have to happen from 9 to 5, and I don't need to see the back of your head at your desk to know you're getting your job done and that we're getting results. Work when it works for you. All work works. It doesn't matter when it happens. But if you don't have work-life balance, you could be like my dad, who, almost lost. And he does have a chance now to kind of make up for some of that stuff. But, life looks different for him. He can't go on a hiking trip,
Yes.
right? He's not in the physical shape to do it anymore. So, do those things while you can. There is always work.
Yeah. Oh,
There's
there
always
is
work.
always work.
Yeah.
There is always work, but there is not always time to spend with your family and
Yes.
the people that you care
Yes,
about.
absolutely.
Do you have any tips, things that you have been applying with your team right now? What are the things that you are doing to make sure that the work-life balance is reflected in their everyday routine?
Yeah, so giving everybody autonomy, right? Like there are always times where we need to all be together to coordinate, to work on projects, things like that. We have a rule if we have an event going on, it's all hands on deck. Everybody's there for setup for the event, for cleanup, when we have team meetings, things like that. But outside of that, those physical moments when we have to be together, I give everybody the power of choice. It's like if you can do this thing from home or you can do it wherever you're doing it. Maybe you're on vacation. I don't know. And I also don't care as long as the work gets done. And the results that we've had the last 2 years, it's working. When someone says, my kid has a snow day or my kid is sick, I can remember moments when I worked in corporate where it was like, my kid's sick, I can't miss work because I don't have PTO. And so I'm having my mother take my kid to the doctor and then report back to me what the doctor's telling her about my kid. And I thought, if I ever run an organization, I never want people that work with me, not for me, with me, to apologize for being a human, a whole human with a whole life outside of work. Because let's face it, at Velocity, we do a lot of great stuff, but we're not curing cancer. And we do important work, but, you're not going to get this time back. Like your kids aren't going to be 9 and 10 again. So take those moments and be there.
I do believe that the main job of a leader is the impact that they have on their people. And I know when you are a new leader, you want to hit those metrics and be very strategic and rational with your actions. And we tend to forget a little bit about our people because we're like, okay, we need to provide results no matter what. But you can do it while having that human-centered
They're not
approach.
robots,
We are
right?
not.
Everybody's an adult. And if I didn't trust them and I didn't think that they would do an amazing job, they wouldn't be here. And I tell them that all the time. It's like, yes, you have, certain goals that you have to hit. You know what your project deadlines are. So go be an adult and do it. And you also have the space to live your life while you're doing it. So, don't take it like I'm totally soft and it's like, oh, everybody just is like running amok. They're definitely not. Everybody's getting the job done. But I just think it's so important. Family needs to come first. And if you don't look at people like people, you get into a situation where you're treating them like robots, and that's not the reality of it. And people aren't going to stay with your organization. But I found that by giving everyone autonomy over their schedule, not limiting, what vacations look like and days off and where they work, the amount of creativity that comes out of this team is amazing. When you give people the space to work in a way that helps them be creative, amazing things happen.
Yes, and you mentioned the power of choice. And I read in an interview that you had something that you do a lot you have it at the bottom of the emails, which is so creative. And can you explain a little bit what is that?
Yeah, so it's not mine. I actually borrowed it. I found it somewhere else. I think I saw like a TikTok video or something about it. And yes, I'm addicted to TikTok, but that's another like
Yes,
podcast
later.
altogether. But basically it just said well-being notice in the footer. And, usually people are like, if this is, a party that it's not, this wasn't intended for you, send it back, whatever, destroy it. But I saw this cute thing and it was like well-being notice. And it said, receiving this outside of your normal working hours, work-life balance looks different for everyone. Feel free to respond when it makes sense for you. And I was like, oh, that's it. I am a horrible morning person. Like, I am not a morning
Same.
person. Yeah, right?
And you know, Taylor is the same. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a morning person. And so for me, it's like my creative time hits around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And, sometimes I'll work until 10, 11 o'clock at night, but that's when I'm the most on.
Yes.
Right. And so it's like, okay, great. And we have other people on the team that they're great at 6 or 7 a.m. And I'm like, nope.
And after that, so you give them the part of choice of like, answer me if you
Yeah.
see it, but
Yeah.
know also that I'm not expecting you
Yeah.
to answer this email. So I love that.
Yeah.
Now you're explaining a lot of like how you're creating this work-life balance for your people, but how you do it for yourself. Because as leaders, there are two spectrums. There are the spectrum of this leader that is maybe like me, where when I became a leader, I was absorbing a lot of my team members' responsibilities. So I was protecting them from maybe something coming up, and I know they have something going on. So I'm like, okay, I can take on it. But my work-life balance wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right? So as a leader, how you regain that work-life balance, or you like create that for yourself as well, because maybe some of them are like, if I do that, then I'm gonna be overwhelmed because I'm gonna be, and as leaders we take more. I mean, that's our responsibility too, but how we still keep that. Quick Boss Leaders, this is a leadership development resource brought to you by Monarch Coaching.
If you've been feeling the pressure in your new role, thinking about a career change, or stepping back into the workforce, you're not alone. The Transformative Series by Monarch Coaching is a 5-week journey designed to help people like you emerge, evolve, and elevate in every stage of leadership. It's where mindset meets confidence and confidence meets opportunity. Because you don't need to wait until you feel ready, you just need the right support to get there. Visit the link in our description below to learn more about upcoming pods, and use code LHL10 at checkout to receive 10% off your seat. The Transformative Series. Practical tools, real support, and lasting transformation.
All right, let's go back to the conversation.
It's super common, I think, for a lot of leaders. And I talk to like a lot of different friends, colleagues, and, just other folks that I run into. And it's really interesting how you're exactly right. It's easy to like create that space and make this amazing work-life balance space for everyone around you. But in the process of doing that, you forget to do it for yourself. And I did that here for a long time, and I've done that in other roles that I've had as well. And so I made the decision last year to take my work email off my cell phone. So that was like my first baby step. And, everybody was like, ooh, that's bold. How do you know when you have meetings and things? And I thought, okay, if I take this off, now I'm going to have to be really intentional about when I work and how I work. And so that was kind of like phase 1 for me. Like it helped me do that. And then this year, I really got intentional about when I gave someone a project on the team, I stepped back.
Okay.
It's not a science project. It's not a team effort, right? It's here is what we need to accomplish. Go figure it out. The minute I gave myself permission to let go of the details, and I think as a leader, that's the hardest part. It doesn't matter how the product gets made. What's important is that the product got made and the customer was happy.
Yes.
And same thing here. I don't need to know all the steps it took, right, to arrive at the ending. I just need to know that we got success out of it. And so doing that, so really like just saying, okay, it's okay. I don't need to know every detail. It's fine. I don't need to be on top of every minute of every project. It's fine.
Yes.
It's absolutely fine. And you know what? It has been fine. And it was funny because I came around the hallway one day and I was saying to someone on the team said, oh, but this and that and this and that. And I looked at that person and I said, well, nobody died, so it's fine.
Yes.
And another girl was coming around the corner and she died laughing and she goes, you should put that on a t-shirt. Like, that's a great motto. And so it's been the new thing in the office where we're always like, well, nobody died, so it's fine.
Yeah, that is true. And also, like, you're treating your people as leaders as well, leaders of that project. And when you have leaders and you encourage, we would have an episode about leading the next generation of leaders, like how to treat your employees as leaders as well, because when you do that, you empower them and they're like, okay, so I need to take care of of this specifically because she is trusting me with this project, and I know I can approach her with questions and doubts, but I know I can do it because she knows she's telling me, she's believing in me. So I know, okay, I can believe in myself because we need someone else to believe in you to realize like I can do this thing. And I think that's one of the lessons like you have learned. But do you have another like big lesson that you're like, now that I'm having this human-centered approach and I believe in work-life balance, I have seen this, and this is one of the biggest lessons that I have kind of like learned throughout this time?
So the biggest lesson, and I tell people this every day when we're working with entrepreneurs, is do it. And this is like, everybody knows this, right? Like people are like, well, I don't have this or I don't have that, or it's get out there and do it, right? Because that thing that you really want to do, whether it's starting a business, going to the gym and getting in shape, whatever that is, there's already somebody out there doing it and they're successful at it. It might have looked ugly and bumpy, but they're out there successfully doing it, and you want to do it. So what is stopping you from doing it? I saw this super cute quote. I don't know who wrote it. There was no author tied to it, but I just thought it was so great. It really kind of recenters your thoughts around jumping out there. And it said, when you feel nervous and your heart is pounding and your body is like shaking when you're like going up to maybe public speak or do something else, they said it's not anxiety or nerves. It's your nervous system and your actual body, like your whole being is clapping for you and cheering you on that you can do it. And I was like, that is so amazing.
I love that. I call them butterflies.
Yeah. And so it's not butterflies. It's not nervousness. It's like literally your...
Like happy butterflies.
Yeah.
It's like in the garden.
Your physical being is like clapping, saying like, you got this.
You got this.
Yeah.
You got this. And I think we always need this. If you... of course, the more you do things, the more confidence you gain. But it doesn't mean that you stop feeling like that. And I think that's why it drives our work as well. You know, it is because if not, it gets daunted. It gets boring. It gets like, again, I have to be in public and talk to 2,000 people. I got this. No, like you want to feel because you're cared. I feel like when I call it happy butterflies.
Yeah, that's
of
great.
Course, because
I love
of
that.
Monarch as well. But when I feel like that's because I care. I care so much. That's why I'm feeling this way.
Yeah, you want to do a great job.
You want,
Yeah, and so I do. Yeah, I think it's important. You have to get out there in spite of the butterflies, right? You have to get out there. And then one more thing, it was funny. I watched a video that Amanda Sweet, I know that you guys know her from Revamp, and I think she's awesome. She's such a cool chick.
Yeah, we had her.
Oh, did you? Yes. Oh, good. I can't wait to see that one because I just think that she's cool. And so she just recently posted a video, and it was about like pivoting in your business, and it's not, you know, it's not failure. And she said it so well, and I'm not going to do it justice, but you know, she said just because you pivot doesn't mean that you failed or you're quitting. It means that you're shifting gears. You learned something and you're shifting gears. But the part that really got me was she was talking about how as an entrepreneur, she struggled so much and she couldn't figure out, like, you know, she's doing all the right things in the planning. And, you know, you go to like boot camps and cohorts and this and that. And it's like plan, your business plan, your business growth plan. And there's so much stress on putting together the plan and how you're going to do the thing that when it comes to actually doing the thing, the execution, it's like, you're so busy with the planning and trying to get it perfect that you forget that you actually have to execute the thing.
Yes.
And so you make it so complicated that, you know, when it comes time to execute it, it's like, oh God, I don't want to do this anymore. And so she said, you know, I was great at the planning, the execution, like I forgot. And she said, you know, sometimes it's execution over planning. It's like, just pick a point out in front of you. That's where you want to go. Sometimes you just have to start walking.
Yes.
You know, and like, plan for the stuff along the
Yeah,
way.
and it's
And I
the
was like,
try
oh,
and
it's so
error.
great.
You don't know
Yeah.
what product or service is going to work until you put it out there and people provide feedback. Yeah, so there is no perfection without feedback, without people experiencing what you're doing. So
We
just
have
do it.
so many entrepreneurs that come to us and they'll have an idea, right, for a business model in mind. And then when they get out there and they start doing their product market fit and their customer discovery, they realize that it's a totally different business. Like they totally pivot to something completely different, or maybe it is that business, but it's just, you know, a particular segment of it. And they end up finding success that way. But I just think it's amazing to, you know, that's how you learn.
Yes.
You know, that's how you
I
learn.
mean, that's what happened with us with Monarch Coaching. Yes. And I actually have a question that we ask all of our guests is how people, organizations can benefit from partnering with companies like us, Monarch Coaching, leadership development companies, where we help organizations to have leaders with a more human-centered approach, leaders that are more emotionally intelligent and think about their people and put their people first. How do you think that those organizations can benefit from it?
So this is a really important one. We have our CEO roundtables.
Yes.
And so everyone in those CEO roundtables, they're decision makers. They are the CEO. They are the founder. They have P&L responsibility. They are the people who are making decisions about how they spend their money. But one of the themes that comes up all the time is company culture. And I think it's so interesting that, you know, you get these CEOs and people who really know how to run their businesses and they know their business inside and out. But you have to remember that there are people, right, that are part of your team that are running your business for you, right? Running your business with you. They're doing things. And so it's important that CEOs look outside of themselves, outside of their own understanding of their business, to bring in folks to help them, right? To be able to really work with people, work on that company culture, and challenge themselves with different ways of thinking about what leadership could look like, you know? And so that's where I think it's important. I think every company, whether you have 5 employees or 500 employees, you should be bringing in someone that you trust from the outside on a regular basis, whether that's quarterly, annually, semi-annually, but you need to be evaluating what is your company culture look like? What is your company happiness meter telling you, right? Because it starts at the top. And so I think, yeah, there's no amount of money that is wasted when you're talking about getting leadership training and figuring out how to keep your company culture intact and or improve it.
Yes. Thank you so
Yes.
much. And thank you so much for coming at the LeadHer Lounge. Is there anything that you want to share about Velocity that's coming up? Of course, I'm going to share all your links in the description below. But if you have anything coming up or if you want to explain more about Velocity.
So we have 2 programs that we're launching. Of course, we have our incubator and accelerator program. So incubator, you come to us with an idea on a napkin. Accelerator, you could be $1 million plus, and you're looking to scale your business. We have help with that. But we are launching 2 important things this year. First, we're launching an alumni networking group. Mark Alexander with Light Tuition, Light Raise. He actually came through our programming.
We have him
Yes.
here.
Oh, you
Yeah,
do?
He was
Okay,
our
good.
first guest.
Oh,
actually.
great,
Yes,
great.
he's
Okay.
amazing.
So he'll be facilitating that. It'll be quarterly, that meetup. You have to be an alumni of one of our programs, which you all will be invited to it. But we have a 4-part series throughout the year where we're taking a deeper look into things like sales, how to figure out getting your financials right, how to get your pitch right so that you can go and talk to investors. And we're bringing in different panels of professionals. So those emails will be going out to Velocity alumni very soon. And then we're also launching with Samer Mansour, our subject matter expert, Ask an Expert network. And so we have a really great lineup of experts in lots of different areas, trademarking, IP, kind of anything that you can think of as a business, just different bridges that you cross. Maybe it's marketing, And we'll have those experts available, and for free, 100% free, you'll be able to go online, fill out a form, and book a 30-minute call with any expert that you choose.
That's
So I'm really
amazing.
excited about that too. Yeah.
So many things
Yeah.
happening in 2026. Thank you so much, Paula, again, for coming and joining us and talking about your experience about leadership and honestly your philosophy. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode.
Well, thank you.
Please share if you know of somebody that has a small business, is an entrepreneur, needs help with their business. They can be part of the incubator. We are part of Velocity, and we love it here. That's why we always thank our Velocity sponsors for this beautiful space, which you also rent. And we'll see you next week, leaders. Bye.